Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority, they are the ones that pretty much house a lot of them. From your first time home buyers, they have their down payment assistance programs giving up to 6%.
Hmm.
Whereas sometimes you really only need that 3.5 if you're doing the FHA. So that's able to either buy down your rate, if the interest rates are going up, or just be able to pay, have more front loading on their loan.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Calvin Russell here at Park Place Realty. Super excited about our upcoming home buying event. But listen, many of you all think that we only work in Illinois, and that's not true. We actually represent a lot of states nationwide. And of course, we have to represent the state of Indiana. All right. We actually want to introduce you all to one of our referral agents in the state of Indiana who's not only blazing a trail, but of course, providing five-star service. So without any further ado, I want to introduce you all to Lisa. Lisa, are you with us today?
Hello, glad for you all to have me. How are you?
Yes, yes, awesome, awesome, and thanks again for taking out your time. I know you was just with some clients, so we greatly appreciate you, carving out your time, not only from your business but also your family as well. So thanks again for your time today.
For sure, anything for good friends.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so first off, of course, Lisa, we know that you're in real estate. We know that you're a five-star real estate agent. How did you find yourself getting into real estate?
When I first got into real estate, and it was when I bought my first house. It was an amazing experience. And I remember people saying like, "Oh, I hated the experience." And I realized your realtor has that whole impact on your buying experience. And I was like, I want to
Yeah.
do this. I want to help people have this experience. And so from there, I've been in the industry for about uh 6 years. So I'm like, I my pride and my craft has always been to make people, especially my people, be able to have that home ownership and meet those goals. So that's kind of been my journey with it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what? That's actually how very similar to my story as well too. My wife and I, man, we were dreading we wasn't dreading the home buying process, but
Yeah.
the things we were dealing with, it was just unprofessionalism or just
Mhm.
bad information, people not getting back to you. And
Yep.
it just wasn't the case. And I'm like, it shouldn't be this way when you're going into home ownership. And so of
Right.
course that's why we say, you know what, if we were ever to be in real estate, we want to make sure that people don't have to go through this. So, and that's exactly how that started with us. Now, of course, you're representing, Indiana. I know that a lot of people are interested, especially people that are not only living in Indiana and transitioning from
Yeah.
home to home or renting to home ownership, but I'm starting to see a big increase of people transitioning from Illinois to Indiana. And so I got a couple of questions for you. So, first off, in your opinion, or just what you've been hearing from clients, what are some of the benefits, from just moving to Indiana, let's say from Illinois?
A lot of what I'm hearing is the kind of top two. It's the cost of living,
Yeah.
and they're getting more bang for their buck.
Mm,
They're able to kind of get more land, more house,
yeah.
and they're not strapped, looking at, oh, the property taxes are 8, 10, $5,000, where you're
Mm.
really kind of facing in Illinois, where in Indiana, they're not worried about that. They have these huge houses and their property taxes aren't breaking the bank. So those are probably the two main things that they're
Yeah.
like, hey, I could get a bigger house that's already done up and I can move straight in versus, over in Illinois. And that's probably been the main thing that's tipped a lot of people over with inflation being so high right now.
Yeah, inflation, big time. So essentially, people are getting more for their money, and then
Yeah.
obviously we know, especially Indiana's like very close to the edge of Chicago, but really the south suburbs. And of course, in Illinois, a lot of people have been seeing those tax increases, like you just mentioned, as well. So it seems like their dollar stretches a little bit further in Indiana. Okay, so now
It really does.
okay, okay. Now, of course, a lot of people love the down payment assistance programs that are in Illinois. Are there any programs that are like that or similar? What are the down payment assistance programs looking like in the state of Indiana?
They actually have quite a few. And the good part about how Indiana works is that they have these assistance programs all the way down to if you're not a first time home buyer, but
Hmm.
they have some really good ones. Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority, they are the ones that pretty much house a lot of them. From your first time home buyers, they have their down payment assistance programs giving up to 6%. Whereas sometimes you really only need that 3.5 if you're doing that FHA. So that's able to either buy down your rate, if the interest rates are going up, or just be able to pay, have more and front loaded on their loan. And then, they do have their step down program. That's another one that's a rate only purchase down. So that's kind of helping with those rates as well. But then they have a next home, which these kind of down payment assistance program, when you get into those, they're
Yeah.
looking at more of your income and your credit ratios and your debt
Okay.
income ratios. But for those, they're giving about $25,000 or so to your down payment assistance or for your first time purchase.
Wow.
A lot of these programs were put into place to help minority first time home buyers. Indianapolis has a really big one. They had a $5 million grant. It was with
Wow.
Home Boost. And yeah, first time home buyers, it was the income restriction on it, of course, but they were giving out
Okay.
$25,000. You just had to identify as a minority, Black or African American, Asian, Hispanic, Indian, and be a first time home buyer.
Okay.
So those are programs that really help you when you're talking about, hey, I need to save and be able to buy a house. There's these programs that are here that are able to, get you into your home that you want to be able to kind of build that generational wealth, or just the things that you want to build and have for your family as you grow old or make a
Yeah.
family and things like that.
Wow.
But not just for the first home buyers, you have like refinance programs that are available, and they have
Okay.
this one time refinancing opportunity with Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority, so they can put into place for you. And they have
Okay.
it's a non-forgivable debt, down payment assistance program. So they have a wide variety of them, and those are kind of your main heavy hitters for Indiana.
Okay.
You can break out in some that have like the Indianapolis one or things like that when they're trying to gravitate more families to be buying and newer construction homes when they are being built. They have these programs there, but the Indiana, your step down, your first home, your next home,
Yeah.
first step, next home, those programs with Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority, they are going to be your main ones that are able to kind of give you that extra push so that you
Yeah.
can get to the closing pay. You can't get to the closing table. You can't own, and you can kind of, not be worried about, oh, I got to have 50,000, twenty
Right.
thousand ever, in the bank. You can find and pick out and have a very and a less stressful home buying experience.
Got you. Got you. Man, that's amazing. And you know what? Because it's almost sound like it's almost better than Illinois right now. So
Sometimes they are. Sometimes you'll get. I mean, because people are realizing that Illinois residents are seeing kind of the push and the hurdle to just like, hey, what am I really paying for?
right.
And then you
Yeah.
look over and you go on Zillow or Riff, and they're like, well, wait, this same house can be over in Illinois, and I'm paying a
Yeah.
$1,000 more for a mortgage. So
Yeah.
it
Absolutely.
does give them kind of a opportunity to compare. And I would never say apples to apples, but maybe an
Yeah.
apple to an orange, if that makes
Got you.
sense.
Absolutely. I mean, there's never it's nothing like obviously, being in Chicago, going downtown, things of that sort. But at the end of the day, unless
Yeah.
you stay downtown, you driving anyway.
Right.
So
And
so
with commuting, a lot of if you ask people who are working in Illinois, downtown Chicago, a lot of them say like, I actually live in Indiana. It's not that far. You're at
mm,
it maybe, and that is something
yeah,
that's very convenient because you're right off the expressway. A lot of my clients are just saying, hey, I still work in Illinois, but I need to be centrally located to be able to get to Illinois. Then my
yeah,
family is there, my job is there, so it's a
yeah,
nice kind of you hop over to another state, but you really don't kind of feel that until it's
yeah,
time to pay the mortgage.
yeah. Absolutely. Listen, it's crazy. I thought people only got on 90 just to go to the casino, but apparently, uh,
You can hit
people are
90.
most definitely looking for ways to be in Indiana and and make that commute because and that's the thing. And again, we just want to let people know that we do have those resources and we do have top agents like yourself, giving that 5-star service in Indiana. And speaking of commuting, now what neighborhoods or cities in Indiana are you seeing your clients or even Chicago residents like ask about the most or considering the most?
A lot of my city of Chicago residents, when they're thinking about crossing over, is more so right over. It's your Munster, your
Okay.
Hammond, your Gary, Indiana. Maybe as far out to Dyer,
Okay.
Indiana. Um, my south suburb people, since they're already kind of south,
Yeah.
they can go a little bit further. So I'm
Oh,
even having people all the way out in Crown Point, Valparaiso.
wow. Okay.
But I want to say probably the main, when I am doing any searches, is Maryville, Gary, Hammond, Cherville, Dyer,
Okay.
Munster, St. John, Crown Point. They have some
Mm,
brand new builds that are in St. John that, they were offering down payment assistance as well. So they were
wow.
paying 100% of their down payment of their down payment. So when I
Wow.
tell you they are calling for Illinois residents,
Listen,
they
for real.
are knocking at the door. Come over. So
Okay.
I service all the way out to Valparaiso, Crown Point.
Okay.
Um, I don't go as super far out. I
Yeah.
don't go out to Indianapolis. That's about 2 hours of so, but I try to be able to be centralized to the
Yeah.
Illinois to Indiana kind of ratio. Yep.
Okay. How far is that? I haven't, of course, I've heard of Valparaiso. I haven't really mapped it. I know Gary's down the street, so I'm in the Homewood area, so I'm not too far.
Yeah.
But how far is Valparaiso a drive? I would say like from the south suburbs.
To be honest, it's the same distance to downtown.
Really? So about 30
You're
minutes or so less, I
about
guess,
30, 45 minutes at the
at the most.
most.
Got you. Wow.
But you're really about the same distance from,
Yeah.
and that's when we put it in perspective. It's like, oh, well, I'm the same commute. It's only like 40 minutes. So I always tell people, I'm like, it's really not that far.
Not that far.
Now,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. That's good to know. And then not,
And
not
then if you hit the toll road, you just got to pay the extra part, but you get
right.
there in a
Yeah.
breeze.
Listen,
Right.
it's worth it if I can get there faster, for sure. And
Right.
not everybody works downtown. I mean, let's say that too,
Right.
So people
Hmm.
work everywhere, So
Yeah.
okay. Now we obviously know the pros of being in
Yeah.
Indiana. Okay. We ain't gonna get too deep into politics, but what are some cons of
That
being
is
in Indiana?
probably the con that people will say is a con. It just
Okay.
depends on your political views.
Yeah.
I say it
Right.
could be a pro or a con, depending
Yeah.
on which way on the ladder you swing. But a lot of the times when I am working with clients, they say, "Ooh, it's this state, it's this that town,"
Yeah.
and it's just like, and I get it. Everybody has their notion of where they want to move to or where they want to
Yeah.
grow or build their family. But I always tell those clients, you're going to have that kind of everywhere.
That's right.
And that's kind of how the world is. Your neighbor can have a completely different view
That's right.
in a red or a blue state, and
That's
guess
right.
what, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
So election season always brings out to say,
Always.
what color is your state?
That's
So
right.
uh, so I I guess I would, outside of policy, I would say probably the only con for anybody that's crossing over is probably going to be added to your commute.
Yeah.
To be
Mm,
honest, you're saving on money.
right.
So depending on how much you are saving, you probably are still saving even more, even with the commute.
Wow.
So you just
Yeah.
have to kind of decide, what are truly the things that matter to you. Is it location? Is it space?
Right.
Is it the work that needs to be done? Is it
Yeah.
your commute to work? Is it your commute to the daycare? Where your caregiver is? It kind of depends on that, because once you kind of do the numbers in the same house that you're looking for in Illinois versus Indiana, you realize the con probably isn't that bad.
Yeah. Right.
and you're going and you're gonna have cons everywhere. And that's the thing, is
Yeah.
that you're not gonna get everything you want in a home. But if school districts matter to you, if that, those are things that you kind of got to do your research on. And Indiana does have some really good school districts. Munster is one of probably the top ones that I have a lot of people wanting to gravitate to because of the
Wow.
school district. So you
Yeah.
kind of have, you weigh all those options, and I try to educate my clients, and to make sure they're making that informed decision of what they want to do and what matters the most to them and their family.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny you mentioned that, and then not to go too deep into politics, but listen, that ain't slowed down Texas, because remember, people
Yeah.
been moving to Dallas since the pandemic. Okay, so
Right. Right.
for
Right.
real,
And they've
but
been having
also,
a time in Dallas and all parts of Texas.
oh man, all parts of Texas, you wouldn't know,
Yep.
and you know what? And that's the thing, you wouldn't know what that would be, and that also shows you how much of a role that plays. It's not that big of a role,
Yeah.
So, however, you also have, like, for example, with Munster, Indiana. I really didn't know too much about Munster, Indiana. I didn't know
Mm.
until there's a place called Jim Med Spa. My wife, she loves that place. So, and then they came out with the Rosebud Steakhouse. I mean, to have a premium steakhouse
Yeah.
without having to go all the way downtown, and I'm in the Homewood area, like, that's so much easier, So I can most definitely see the new businesses also that are popping up and servicing the neighborhood as well too.
It's a lot of them, and I mean, I can't say that I'm not supporting those because I
Yeah.
cross over all the time for a good steak and some seafood here and
There you
there.
go.
But but I mean, it gives you, especially for the people that hate going downtown. It's like I
Yeah.
hate the like extra paying for parking. You
Yeah.
have that actual nice, elegant, date nights out. You can go to
Okay.
downtown. Muster, they have brand new hotels. They're even still building, I think, a new hotel even over there on Calumet. So they have brand new restaurants that are coming
Wow.
constantly.
Yeah.
Brand new homes. You can still see them on Calumet, brand new built homes
Mm.
right there on And I mean, it's right here in the south suburbs. You might as
Yeah.
well say Chicago, your backyard.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
if you'll go over there to get gas because it's
Listen.
cheaper. I mean, so I always tell people, I'm like, hey, it's people will say like, "Oh, I don't," my dad, he used to say, "Well, you're right. Just cross on over and get some
Yeah.
gas, and then while you're there, is the liquor or the
Mm,
everything else
what
is
else is
that
on
cheaper?"
sale?
I'm like, "All right." He's like, "What else is on?" I'm like, "Dad, it's okay."
Yeah, for
So
real.
I tell people like it's, and then also you talking about the taxes on groceries. There
Yeah.
isn't one in Indiana, so
Yeah.
you're able to really stretch that dollar over there, and I mean it's nice to have families who really didn't think they could ever own that
Mm.
say, "Oh my God, I didn't think that I could do this,
Yeah.
and I never thought or considered moving out of state." But it doesn't feel like I'm out
Yeah.
of state because I
It
can
don't
still
feel
get to my
like,
mom.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like I cross over. I can take Ridge Road, or I can just take the streets and just
Yeah.
you get the Google notification. Welcome to Indiana.
Right.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? And for everyone watching this, we're not trying to necessarily talk you into Indiana per se, but just letting you know the benefits, the pros, the cons. But again, it sounds like it could be a great option for a lot of people that are on the fence. And like you said, it's not like you're moving to Indianapolis. You're literally what's another
yeah.
5, 10, 15 minutes, so that plays a role for sure. Is there anything else you wanted to share with everyone watching this as they're, considering to move into Indiana?
The one thing I will say is that your home buying process, it does not have to be scary. Moving out of state, it will not be scary. I promise you, it's going to feel like you're just in Illinois 2.0, but just paying a whole lot less.
2.0.
Uh, so the
Yeah.
thing is that I really hope, and what I take pride in is really guiding you through, letting you know, well, you don't have ComEd, or you don't have NICOR, you don't have
Yeah.
People's Gas, and those things change to NIPSCO and things like that. That is not a
Yeah.
scary thing. Change is not bad.
Nope.
Sometimes change needs to happen in order for you to make that step to where you want your family to grow and be. So if you have those goals of home ownership and Illinois is just making it a little difficult for you,
Right.
don't quit. Don't quit, don't stop. Just take a step back and say, what are the options that are near me? What are the towns? What are the resources? And get that bomb agent,
Yeah.
and I'll,
That's right.
and we make it happen. And I
That's
mean,
right.
I will tell you how many times that just brings joy to my heart to be able to have that impact in a family's life. That hey, I was able to own a home that I'm first generation of even owning. So the
Absolutely.
only thing of advice I have, I am here to support God and be a part of your journey.
Yeah.
But it is ultimately up to your choice. I am not saying Illinois sucks. I'm not saying Indiana is
Yeah.
the greatest. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that it works for who it works for.
Yeah.
And I am here to be a part of your journey if you need to. You can
Absolutely.
do it.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah,
can do
absolutely.
it.
And also too, recently, you just helped another person that we get from Park Place Realty that we sent directly over to you, and they bought a new construction home, correct?
Yes, they got
Okay.
that 100% down payment paid and
Wow.
this was having a great
Amazing.
time. I've
Yeah.
neid never been to a closing. I said, "Well, you pay all of it." She said, "Yes, all." I said, "No, no, no. I mean, like the cents too." She
Wow.
said, "Yes." And I mean, it was a great experience. It was learning experience for kind of both of us because buying new builds is the scary part. It
Yeah.
very much so is because you have the horror stories of, oh, this happened, they
Mhm.
didn't do this or anything like that.
Mhm.
And I mean, they actually had one of those horror stories. So it was nice that I was able to kind of come in from
Yeah.
you all's referring and be able to kind of shape that experience all over again. And
Yeah.
they're really, really great individuals. And I appreciate you all for connecting us because
Absolutely.
we needed to take care of them. So
That's right. Yeah, absolutely, for real. And also too, you're working with another person right now who's selling their property and also buying another property in Indiana. So you've been getting high praises for sure. Okay. So,
I
but
appreciate
again,
it.
guys,
I work hard to make sure I keep you and the team happy.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Well, listen, everyone, we want to share something with you. Listen, we have our virtual home buying event. It is coming up. It is actually this Saturday. Okay. So, again, you're either a number one or you're a number two. Okay. A number one is someone that says, you know what? I need to learn more information. I still have questions. I need to, learn a few more things about improving my credit score. Listen, this is a free event. But here's the deal. We have well over 110,000 subscribers on YouTube. So listen, it's only 100 seats from this event. There's about 60 to 65 seats left. I got to get the exact number. But again, this most definitely will sell out. It is free, but the webinar can only hold 100 people. So now there is a link that's going to be in the description, or you can scan this QR code if you're watching this on your TV or your computer. Now, here's another thing. You may be a number two. And this is someone that says, listen, I've heard enough from Lisa. I've heard enough from you. I am ready. I'm ready to get things rolling and move to Indiana. Okay. So if you're ready right now, or even if you just have, you can also be ready, but still have just a couple of questions. Scan this QR code and you're ready to buy a home right now. Okay. So again, thanks again, Lisa. We greatly appreciate you being on today, taking the time away, stepping away from your business and such as well. So thanks again for stopping by.